Good morning, this is Vance, and this is Wednesday, April the 19th, 2017. These are the CL trades for today, early morning bite. A couple of things I want to talk about today. First of all, I'm going to do this very quickly because I've got some things to do right at 9 o'clock, and right now it's just after 8:30. Yesterday, I had talked about the early morning bite and talked about volume. The problem was, and this I've discovered later on, is that yesterday the front month contract of May, which was the highest volume contract at the time, was overtaken by June by volume. And it took over yesterday very rapidly. In fact, there was still more volume on Monday on the May contract, but yesterday it was overtaken by a wide margin, and that is why the May contract was trading so low. Like I thought it was because of the holiday on Monday. It could have been, but it was because it was, even though there was more volume on the May contract on Monday, it really flip-flopped yesterday, and I'll talk about that later on. It's something that hasn't really happened before. It's kind of unique, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about volume and, of course, the roll. As far as I wasn't expecting that roll to take place until this week, but unfortunately it took place. It overtook yesterday, and that's why there was a little difficulty in there wasn't a lot of volatility on Monday, and certainly it really declined yesterday, especially after I did the early morning bite. So I switched over when the market opened up. I switched over to the June contract, and I didn't get a chance to. I'll talk about that a little bit later on in a little bit more detail. And this was just yesterday on the June contract. As you can see, there was a heck of a lot more volume. This was the open. I was still looking at the May contract until this area until yesterday. And I'll show that in detail later on. But let's talk about this morning before 9 o'clock, so some of you can get a jump start on this. This is the overnight movement on the June contract. If you notice, the high is at $53.04, just bumping up against $53 again. The low, yesterday's low, today's low is $52.64. You can see that it's probably more of a range, say 30 ticks from the high. Now this high took place at 6:30 this morning Eastern Standard Time, but if we look at it from the perspective of where the low is right now, we're trading right around $52.80. I'm going to wait and see how prices respond to the daily low. Right now, it appears that there's been support from the left-hand side of the chart. You can see this here, but that's, as I said, early morning hours, and don't put a heck of a lot of stock in that. So I'm going to wait and see how prices are going to respond the closer we get to 9 o'clock. And of course, there's only two choices: either prices are going to go up, or prices can go down. You can be on the right side of the trade. As it is right now, this appears to be somewhat down. And if we look at 8 o'clock, this is within the last. This is 8 o'clock is right in this area, so we're really rotating within this 15 ticks since 8 o'clock. A couple of strong bars. This strong bar is really developing now. And you can see as we get closer to 9 o'clock, the volume is going to start coming in, and get a sense of what direction is going to be to take a trade, either long or short. So if you base it on what we saw yesterday, the high yesterday was, we're up in neighborhood of the, way up here. I don't have the thing on there yesterday. Yesterday's high was above 53. Let me just kind of show it to you. I usually have that on this chart, but I don't know why it's off. 53.30. Oh, I know why. It's because I switched over yesterday. Anyway, keep in mind that you can see when you squish it down like this, you can see how tight the range. It looks a lot tighter than the range actually is. But especially when you pull out this 15 ticks and you pull it back. This is the 15 tick stop box right here. You can see that really the overnight range was really only roughly 45 ticks from bottom to top. So as I said, as we get closer to 9 o'clock, we might get a hint of what the direction is, and go from there. All right, this is Vance. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. Bye for now.